If you're anything like me, you've been playing a lot of Set 10, and every time you've gotten a Jax in your shop, all you've seen is an unclickable unit. Well, what if I told you that after some recent Mosher buffs, not only is Jax clickable, but he's kind of a beast that can carry you into the late game? I'm Spiffboy, and today we're taking a look at Mosher Jax Reroll. Alright, so let's first start with the comp you're going to want to build around. So of course you're playing Jax, and that's the core, is Jax of course, and you definitely want to make sure you get a headliner, and Mosher is much better than EDM. EDM is playable, but you're going to want to focus on Mosher, and of course you're going to want to stack some extra Moshers in there. So the easiest one to add is Set, and not Zed, but Zac. So this is kind of your core. Like if you're going to have any 3 units on your board, this is what you want. But of course, you want to stack as many Moshers as you can. This is really a Mosher focused comp. Urgot, Yorick, early in the game, playing a Vi is actually viable. She also got buffed as well. Who are our other Moshers? We have Gnar. There you go. We have all the Moshers available to us. Poppy as well. And so, unfortunately, there is no 8 Mosher, there's only 6 Mosher. So once you get late into the game, you probably drop out Vi and Gnar. It is tempting that with Gnar and Yorick, the link between Pentakill and Mosher, potentially you might be able to throw in something like Viego and have that Pentakill going for you. But I have found that actually isn't the most successful. I haven't experimented too much, but I haven't found that isn't crazy successful. So my board ends up actually looking something like this. And then what you want to stack on top of that is some extra EDM units. You can throw in Lux. Having Lux in the early game is very good in the back line. And then Zed, just another solid frontline carry. So you're going to have someone like this. You'll have 4 out of 4 EDM. Like I said, if you end up with EDM Jax, we have 8 units on the board right now. 6, 7, 8. So to get 5 EDM and 6 Mosher, because 6 Mosher is the breakpoint you really care about, it's going to be tough to fit all that EDM in there. So this is the board you're kind of looking for. If you manage to go 8, you can throw in something, or you manage to go, what is this? This is 8. If you manage to go 9, you can throw in an Alawi is always good, or a Sona always helps out with that. But this is the board you're going for, and just building towards this. Again, of course, having Gnar for early in the game. An early board could look something like, Gnar, Jax, Lilia, and Kennen. This is an easy board to put together. You get yourself a Mosher. If you have an early headliner Jax, that's going to be extremely powerful. And then build towards this, up towards that later board with just 6 Mosher is the key, and then EDM units and some other stuff to support it. And in terms of itemization, looking at the stats, the best items you can give this guy are Double Hodge and a Jeweled Gauntlet. This is peak itemization. But of course, you're not always going to get perfect items every game. So, any things along that. Like if you get a Hodge on him, that's going to be pretty good. And, something like a QSS or a where is it? Where is the Edge of Night? One of those two, something defensive. A Titans also works quite well on him. Something he's a frontline carry, bruiser type guy. So any of these items, right? Give him some healing, give him some extra resistances, give him some damage, and he'll go absolutely crazy for you. So again, if we're gonna build the absolute perfect board, we have something like this, and then where's my Jeweled Gauntlet like this, and then of course we'll bring all of our Moshers and EDM units back out. Make sure that we're not forgetting anybody. Lux, of course. Urgot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who am I missing? I'm missing one more Mosher. Oh, and Set, of course. And then for this comp, Set will likely be your main tank. It's going to be tough to 3-star him at all. You're likely only focusing on 3-starring Jax. A 3-star Set would be nice, but it's probably unlikely. You're probably only going to 2-star him. But he's going to be your main tank. If you manage to get a 2-star Zac early, it's going to be, you're never going to have any complaints about that. But of course, it is quite difficult to, get yourself a Zac 2 while you're rolling for a 2 cost, where a Set is more likely. So this is the kind of board you're going to be looking for. Now, another thing I like to do when I'm checking out a new comp is to explore the stats. This is tactics.tools. The stats explorer is extremely useful. So if we look up Jax and we 3-star him, well, first of all, we can see that Jax actually averages a 4.04, so I'm not crazy. This comp is actually good. But this is where you can kind of figure out what you're looking for here. So as you can see, 6 Mosher, if you look at these deltas, negative numbers mean it's very good. So that's what you're going to be looking for. So you can see 5 EDM is actually quite powerful. 6 Mosher is quite powerful. You know, all these things are good. But you want to look at items and augments. So you can see Submit to the Pit is actually an insane augment. It's played a lot and it bumps the average up a bit. So Submit to the Pit, anything that helps with 3-starring, Healing Orbs, Indomitable Will, Epitaph, Gargantuan Resolve. You know, a lot of the frontline bruiser ones. Remember Your Roots actually seems very good. Yeah, it has great placement. Because, you know, you're going to be playing a lot of Moshers, so getting that attack speed and health on everybody is going to be great. And so keep in mind, so this is the average placement. So, you know, perfectly balanced, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, but I don't have my camera on, is a 4.5. So anything less than a 4.5 is very powerful. And then items as well, you know, you can see Jeweled Gauntlet, Hodge, all very good items. And something that'll happen in the gameplay we're about to check out is that I immediately slam a Hodge. So I can add a Hand of Justice over here, and it's on my 3-star Jax. And now my field is narrowed down, and now I can see which items do I want to combo with this Hand of Justice. You can see a Jeweled Gauntlet is very powerful, Edge of Night very powerful, another Hand of Justice also very good. These are very good deltas. So yeah, so these are the things you want to keep in mind if you're playing comps like this, you know, especially when they're new, because as we're with the gameplay I'm about to show was my first time playing this, but I'm already sold because I was able to use stats correctly and make myself a very powerful board. So with, you know, units, augments, items out of the way, let's take a look at some gameplay. All right, and now we are into some of the gameplay. So I start with item payout. Do you really think I'm gonna start with anything else? You know, that's what we're gonna go for. And I do have this sped up. You know, we're gonna be skipping over, you know, most of this game. A lot of it is not Jax, but you know, I'll make sure we pause and highlight a lot of the important Jax parts. And you know, I do still want to show kind of these early stages because, you know, I feel like a lot of other content creators, you know, kind of skip past these first stages and, you know, kind of gloss right over them. But these are important decisions, especially in this set. And so as you can see here, I go for a K'Sante. I go for that K'Sante headliner with no other Heartsteel available to me. So that is not good. Also, S is good for me to know. I can slow down and speed this up. So I have a K'Sante, I have a Quicksilver, and immediately I see Jax, and I see that I have a Hodge, and I'm thinking to myself, I do not have anything that actually does backline damage. I don't have Heartsteel. You know, I'm thinking, you know, is this just a Jax game? Or early on, for no particular reason. I'm thinking it might be a Jax game. Or at least, you know, at least I know Jax will be able to hold this Hand of Justice fairly well. So first augments show up, and immediately here, I think I already make a mistake. This mistake ends up benefiting me, but consistency here, gain double win and loss streak gold. I have a garbage team. I took a K'Sante and a K'Sante headliner with Heartsteel, and I don't have Heartsteel. So immediately I roll it, and I think to myself, shoot, I should have taken that. But now we have Parting Gifts and Latent Forge. You know, Stim Pack, you know, that's another lose streak oriented one, but at this point I've rolled past, you know, I've rolled past consistency, so I don't even care about that. And I figure, you know what, Latent Forge, that might be able to save me. And I get myself a second Jax, and we got some alarms going outside. I mean, it's perfect, of course, when I try to record this. So I have a Jax pair, I have a Vi, and I'm trying to grab some Superfans. So, you know, I get that Sentinel in, I have Superfan, I have Mosher, and at this point, as you can see, my mouse has actually left the screen. I'm checking stats. I'm doing what I just showed off. I'm trying to see what can I throw on Jax. And a Hand of Justice is something that I can definitely slam here. So at this point, I'm in no way committed to playing Jax, but he is going to be the guy that's going to get it done for me now. I have a Synergy active. It's pretty good. I have a second Lilia available to me here as well. This lets me lean towards Superfan because no matter who you're playing, Superfan is extremely beneficial. And so at this point, I'm really considering like, F it. Is this just a Jax game? And so we get up against somebody who has a Deathblade and an IE on a Nami. So that's a bit strange. And they beat me, which is also a bit strange. So that's unfortunate. But now is an important point where we have a headliner without synergies, and we just lost a fight. So now we need to consider some things. And if you can see, you can probably see what I'm considering here. I wanted to sell K'Sante anyways, but here we have a chance for some pretty big upgrades. So we can ditch this K'Sante, we can grab a Kennen, which is much better, have Superfan cooking, and I drop out of Mosher because I'm torn here between, do I keep this Vi, this Mosher, pre-level, play very aggressively? But I'm actually against doing that because I just lost. So I don't see any reason to play aggressively here, given that I'm coming off of a loss. At this point, I've kind of accepted the fact that I'm not going to be too strong, and maybe I just play for loss streak for the rest of this stage. So I see if I win this fight, which unfortunately I don't, and so I'm going to sell to make 10 here. And I sell the Lilia, and I sell all the pairs, but I keep a Vi, and I keep my Jax pair for sure, because I'm convinced that Jax is going to be the way to go here. And on this carousel, so that was an interesting pick for me there, where I grabbed the rod, and my thought is that, well, this cloak, I don't want to turn this into a bloodthirster. So what am I going to turn this cloak into? Well, Jax does magic damage, so a spark is actually useful here because I already have a Hodge. I don't need more healing necessarily. So I'm gonna make a spark here, get myself some magic pen. If I pivot off of Jax, there's still something that's viable. But now I get myself another Superfan and a Mosher. So this is an excellent position to be in as someone who's very heavily considering playing Jax. And now I also don't slam the Ionic Spark quite yet because, you know, Magic Pen is valuable, but what would also be valuable would be a Jeweled Gauntlet. As we saw in the stats, if you have a Hodge slammed already, a second Hodge and a Jeweled Gauntlet is the way to go. So we're gonna see if we can make that happen. And now Jax with this Mosher active and this Gnar, I'm coming around, I'm winning, but I didn't have to destroy my econ in order to start doing so. And now here I see I have Country potentially available to me. I could grab this Katarina, play towards that. I finally have Heartsteel now that K'Sante is gone. But what I actually see is a bold move here, is where I'm gonna sell this Nico and grab the Urgot. Because at this point, I'm committed to playing Jax at this point. So even though this puts me, you know, I lose Omnivamp on my Kennen, I start collecting Moshers that are going to help me later into the game. And so I end up winning that fight, which is great. And we can take it into neutrals, 20 gold 2-streak, not perfect, but we get a couple more Moshers here. And now all of a sudden I'm thinking, this is it. And truthfully, I should have sold this Kennen. I should have gotten rid of this Kennen. I should have played all that. You can see me hovering over him, saying, "Oh, why didn't I sell that?" But I didn't. So you know, we gotta get over it. And so our items were given sword, bow, cloak, rod, and another Jax. See, the other Jax is awesome, and we get 4 Mosher cooking. And now we have a decision to make of what items are we gonna slam here. And of course, the Spark is available. A Giant Slayer might be an option. A Rage Blade isn't great. So again, I consult the stats. You know, I'm checking all my options available to me. Got to consult the stats. And I believe what I end up deciding here is an Ionic Spark because 1, we can put something on Kennen. We're not gonna put it on Jax, but we can put it on Kennen and get some value, get some true damage value since we do have a true damage Kennen. So we get some money for that. We get some true damage value. And now the sword and the bow can turn into an Edge of Night, a Titans. You know, there are some options we have available with those 2 items, and those are much easier to play around rather than, you know, a rod and a cloak. So we managed to win that fight, very good. And now we're up to another augment round. So what do we decide here? You know, we looked at the augments before. And we checked the stats, and we know that we want kind of combat power is what will make the Moshers thrive. You really want to make sure you have extra combat going for you. So we have Support Cash, Capricious Forge, and Teaming Up. Support Cash and Teaming Up are virtually the same. Teaming Up gives you some extra gold, and maybe we high roll a 4 cost that we want, but support cash gives us a better option of support items. So those are possible. And then Capricious Forge, not really. So I want support cash over teaming up or Capricious Forge. You know, Ascension is whatever. Yeah, teaming up I roll, and this is where I see something juicy. Where now it's between support cash and last stand. I'm checking stats, and unfortunately there's not enough stats to actually say which one's better. But I go for last stand. I go for last stand because I figure at this rate, you know, I remember back into playing this game. I think I'm in a worse spot, and also I do manage to level there, get Lilia back in for Superfan, make my Kennen a little bit stronger. But I remember thinking at this point in the game, like, I'm screwed. I need a miracle right now. But I'm at 86 health. You know, I'm pretty healthy. I'm a little poor. You know, 30 gold, not exactly where you want to be. We take a loss here as well, so we have to sell the Vi. So, you know, I'm in a position where I'm like, I really need to. If I've committed to Jax at this point, so I really need to make sure that I'm in a position where once I hit this Jax, I have the ability to win out. So that's why I go for Last Stand. And Last Stand also allows me to play this stage very slowly. You know, normally if you're playing a 2-cost reroll, you want to have that headliner early. But taking Last Stand allows me to kind of absorb some losses here, keep the Kennen, and instead build up my economy to make sure that when I do roll down, I'm actually in the position to hit Jax. And so I go for the Vest there. Very unfortunate that it's on a 1 cost. But if you remember from looking at the stats earlier, you know, I slammed a Hodge, and a Edge of Night is one of the best performing items. And now we also have an Ornn item, which I completely forgot about. So we know we have a Hodge. We have an Edge of Night because we know that's one of the best performing items, given a Hodge. And now we have Infinity Force, Gold Collector, and Death's Defiance. So 2 of these are really good. One of them is a lot of fun. The fun one is Gold Collector, and that one I'm going to avoid taking because I actually want to win this. I want to gain some LP. So it's between an Infinity Force and Death's Defiance, and now both of them are great items for these frontline bruiser types. But I have a Hodge, which gives healing. I have Mosher, which gives healing. You know, I'm thinking at this point I need some damage. I need some damage to back me up. So that's why I go for the Infinity Force. So now we have Infinity Force, Edge of Night, Hodge. We have healing, we have damage, we have kind of defensiveness in the Edge of Night. We have a fully itemized Jax. Now, is this, you know, best items for Jax? No. But this ensures that I have 3 items on who I'm planning to be my main carry, and that I can also try to preserve HP here, because that is awesome. Or that is critical, I should say. You know, who cares if I have perfect items on Jax if I'm dead? So, and then I attempt to make econ, but then I sell, but then I buy Lux, because we do want to fit in EDM at some point here. Again, and then we get blessed with a couple more Jaxes. So now we're in a position where we are a headliner and 1 Jax away from hitting the 3-star. So 55 health, we have Last Stand available to us. You know, we have the ability to make something happen here. But again, I continue to slow play it. I allow myself to take these losses. We have Last Stand to back us up. So there's no need for anything rash here. But now we get into neutrals, and this is where we can start making some moves. We get rid of Kennen. It's time to move our headliner. We can play Lux, and we start rolling. We start seeing if we can start picking up, you know, some things. And this Mosher Gnar is very interesting to me. It would give me, you know, that extra Mosher, but I'm of the opinion that we need Jax here. This is. I mean, we're working off of a sample size of 1. I also miss a Zac here. That is quite poor of me. I absolutely should grab this Zac. So, you know, watching this gameplay back is definitely paying dividends now that I know all the mistakes I've made. So we're about to roll down. We're about to roll down for everything. But let's take a look at our items. You know, we have 2 bows, a rod, a vest, a belt. Let us. What do I do first? I do roll down first. So let's do this roll down again. I'm missing so many Zacs here. I haven't rolled for this, and now I see an EDM Jax, but I have 59 gold. The way headliner odds work is that if you see a unit as a headliner with a certain trait active, in this case EDM, the next time you see them, it will be the other trait. It won't be the same trait. So I'm guaranteed to see a Mosher Jax next time he comes around. And I, intelligently or unintelligently, roll past it and say, F it, I'm going to find that Mosher Jax, the one that I want. So I'm digging deep, and I'm rolling for a lot of things here. And at this point, I'm 2 Jaxes away. And so what I actually do here is what I might consider a big brain move. I sell that Jax to make sure that I can have the headliner. Because if you don't know, the headliners, if more than half the units are gone, they won't show up as a headliner. So let's make sure I sample Jax. And now we have some items available here. So let's make sure we consider these. So we have a Sunfire potentially, we have a red buff potentially, but we don't want both of those. So if we make a Sunfire, then we have a Rage Blade available, which isn't that good. You know, we could Rage Blade Lux, but like, why? But if we red buff Lux, she can apply anti-heal to the whole board, and then we have a Crown Guard we can throw on set. And so those are the items I end up making here, you know? So red buff is just a powerful item. If you have 2 bows and you don't need them for anything, make a red buff. It's just a very powerful item, and and with Lux, now she can apply anti-heal to the whole board. Very powerful. And then we have a Crown Guard available to us, but where we can throw on Set, who's going to be our primary tank. So let's speed up the gameplay now. So now we've established our base. You know, we have our Jax, and I'm still struggling to figure out, you know, like, okay, I have 5 Mosher, what else goes in here? And of course, we have our last Augments. So Unleashed Arcana, so we didn't want Pandora's items. We're pretty set on our items. We have our complete items for Jax. So we have Jeweled Lotus, Unleashed Arcana, and Hologram. Well, Unleashed Arcana we probably also don't want because, again, we have our Jax items. We don't need more items. Hologram could create 2 Jaxes, 2 Jax 3s. Sounds pretty powerful. But then also Jeweled Lotus. Remember that with a Hodge, a Jeweled Gauntlet is the best thing, or one of the best things you can throw on Jax, and we can't do that now. So Jeweled Lotus actually seems like quite a viable choice here. And so I'm deciding, I'm checking stats, sample sizes are too small, so you know, I gotta freeball it. I gotta figure it out for myself here. Prismatic Ticket, we absolutely need combat. So Jeweled Lotus gets it done. So now we effectively have a Jeweled Gauntlet on our Jax, you know, despite not having one. And there you saw me getting rid of that Lily. I was trying to figure out like who goes in here. It should have been Zac. It should be any bruiser. You'll see me. I wonder if I end up clicking through the team planner at all. But I know that I need a bruiser because, you know, Set's our main tank and we want somebody to combo with him. But what bruiser is that? You know, I mean, like I said, the answer is Zac. But, you know, it's a bit of naivete affecting me here. So now I see a Twisted Fate, which I think maybe if I can get some Dazzler in, at least I get another synergy, rather than just playing 2 Nars, which doesn't seem that great. And I also see that everyone has gone level 8 now, and I'm still level 6. So this is not the greatest position I've ever been in, and we get up against a very strong Twisted Fate board. So we fall, but it's not to be concerned yet. 29 HP. We're still only at 5 Mosher, which of course is slightly below what we want. And my eyes are locked on this Yorick, which of course I'm not going to get. So I just decided to tank item. You know, we get a Blitzcrank. That's a 4 cost. We had some extra gold for us. We can get a Warmogs on set. Get our primary tank juiced up. And, you know, we're in a pretty good spot. So we have the Warmogs, we have a Bruiser. We finally have a Bruiser to combo with Set. Is this the correct Bruiser? Absolutely not. I'm looking at my traits. If you look over here, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3. Like everything's just 1 out of 3. So I end up rolling a bit. I find myself a Poppy. We finally have 6 Mosher. And now I should see this board start to pop off. And as you can see, we're actually doing pretty good. That's Zhonya's, which I don't know where that guy got that Zhonya's. Where did that Zhonya's come from? Did he get it from Spoils of War? I remember being just utterly confused by that. But that Zhonya screwed me. But, you know, I'm still feeling confident. Remember, we have a major power spike coming ahead of us. So we're able to, you know, not be too bad. Our goal is to make it to 8 so that we can, and also, can this dang bar go away? Our goal is to make it to 8 so we can start playing more EDM. Because for those who don't know, you know, EDM, it causes the other champions to sample your champion. So you can see Lux does the little Jax hop every now and then. Of course, Jax himself will will sample himself. So it essentially gets more attacks out of him. And Jax's ability, which I should hopefully pop up right here to be helpful for you guys. But essentially he does damage to people around him. I wonder if I check it here. No, I don't. I'll do that in post. We won't do it live. But essentially he hops onto people, does a big AoE ability, but then gets stacking AP throughout the rest of the fight. And so here I get a Sojin for Lux, you know, give us more chances to get that red buff, redemption on Gnar, seems like a okay choice. And then I lock in. I know I'm going 8 next turn. I know I'm gonna be rolling. I want to make sure I don't miss Zac and Zed. And so we're starting to take some L's here. We're up against, you know, again, very strong boards. But we're down an Augment. We're down an Augment at this point. But here we go. Roll down. We get the Zac. We get a Yorick, which is nuts. We had a bunch of Urgots. That was an Urgot 2 in our shop. But I have to pass it up. I don't think that's what's going to win us the game. We have 0 items on him. And we're playing 7 Mosher. Don't be afraid to play odd numbers of synergies. You know, is there a better board I could have put together here? Sure. But having a Yorick out there is pretty dang good. That being said, we are on our last stand now. We're on our final. We're on our last stand. We got all the units we wanted. Let's see if this extra HP, armor, MR, and resistances can do it for us. So at this point, it's a donkey roll every turn. Donkey rolling, for those who don't know, it means just rolling to 0 until you hit what you want. I just really need a Zed. All I need is a Zed. And as you can see, it'll make the spell more effective, and it'll happen more frequently. So definitely very beneficial for us. But this is our last stand fight. This is the chance we get to see if Jax can actually do it, and he can. There's the clip from the start of the video. The first time I saw Jax actually pop off. So of course I want more Yoriks. I would love me some Yoriks. And so there we go. So this is the board I described earlier. You know, again, the items, you gotta stay flexible with those. Even if you try to force a unit, you gotta remain flexible with your items. And we're just rolling. We throw a Gunblade on Lux. I checked the stats to see who was doing the most damage, and Lux was actually doing the second most damage. So getting the Gunblade on her, providing some more healing, always beneficial. Always beneficial for the team. Now we're up against an Annie reroller. This is a comp that I wish I could have success with again, but I just can't seem to do it. It doesn't matter, we knock them out. And so now we can see that now that we've procced our Augment, we've secured our top 4. So already a big bead of sweat got wiped off my head there just for making it this far. But you may be surprised, because I was surprised as well, that Jax is going to take me a lot further than I thought. So we have another fight here. We got a big pentakill guy. He has a Yorick, has a fully stacked Viego. And it is light work. It is light work for the Jax. So okay, I'm looking for a Zed, and I think after this I'll start slowing down the fights. We'll start taking a look, and we'll really start basking in the glory of what this Jax can get done. So we get another item here, and now we'll slow things down a bit. So we're gonna roll. Always roll before your items. You know, we need to hit our units. Our items we can figure out on the fly. There we go. We finally get our Zed. We drop the Poppy. You know, we want to make sure we're playing 2 stars. Gnar is probably due for replacement, but a 2-star Gnar is gonna be better than a 1-star Poppy in theory. And we get ourselves some tank items. You know, we'll just throw something on Zac. He's gonna be great CC for us. So let's just make sure that we can get more stuff. As you can see, our EDM is even more effective now that we have Zed out there. And here we go. Here's a big Twisted Fate, a Disco Big Shot board, which is something I've had mixed success with as well in this latest meta. But as you can see, Jax is just hopping around, and then Lux hops in every now and then. And this one's actually pretty close, but as soon as you get Jax onto their carries, he takes care of business. And so that's a big point I want to bring up in this comp, is that positioning is absolute key, especially when you're playing melee carries. If you position your melee carry incorrectly and just get them caught on a big tank, you know, they're gonna die. That's all there is to it. But if you can manage to, and here's a big brain play: sell the Gnar, so I can move the item over to Zac, my secondary tank, get myself one more roll just in case I find that Poppy. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're kind of on the outskirts, so you can attempt to wrap around and get onto their carries. Because as you can see here, that's a big Blitzcrank in the middle. I want nothing to do with that Blitzcrank as my Jax. I want to make sure I am dodging that entirely. So I managed to lock onto that, and boom, I'm right on the back line. So it doesn't matter. They don't have a chance to do anything about it. And so now we're top 2. We're top 2. It's down to a 1v1. We managed to get the Poppy too. So it's time to say goodbye to Gnar. Again, there's the link between Gnar and what's his face? Yorick. There's the Yorick and Gnar link to maybe get Pentakill in. I need to go 9 to make that happen. And now I'm feeling good. Now I'm getting chatty. Yo, Jax is legit. And thankfully Panini Lover's a good sport. We're going back and forth here, talking about some stuff. And yeah, and he brings up an excellent point, which I think is something that's important to bring up, is that my augments are insane. Portable Forge gives me, a very strong item, especially for a silver. Getting a full Ornn item out of a silver, very powerful. And then Jeweled Lotus and Last Stand, lots of combats. Melee carries really, really want combat augments. Econ augments are out, and combat is in, especially if you're playing melee. Because without combat power, they're just gonna get ran over by these guys. And yeah, this guy's talking about how he played a Kai'Sa 3 yesterday, which somehow got him a 3rd. But there we go. So we have a Yorick available to us on Carousel, which is absolutely perfect. We'll throw a Nashor's on. I end up throwing it on Zac because, whatever. It's just an item. Maybe it would be better on Urgot, or maybe it would have been better on Yorick. Who knows? But just 3 items Zac gives him some more AP. When your EDM units sample your carry one, whichever one you have sampled, they use their stats. So I'm thinking if I give my Zac some AP, that'll make it when he turns into Jax, it'll hit just a little bit harder. And yeah, and I'm chatting about how Kai'Sa just always whiffs. I will never play Kai'Sa 3 just because whenever she misses her ult, it absolutely pains me. So we're going in on this guy again. We're positioned very well. We are right onto the Twisted Fates, so he's gonna get 1 cast off. My Edge of Night will proc. I'll be able to heal back to full, and we make light work of him. And so now it's 9 health versus 1 health, and I make my key mistake of the game. Well, first of all, should I be rolling here? Maybe a Z2. I probably should be rolling here. So I make 2 key mistakes here. 1, I should be making a Z2. I should be rolling for a Z2. That's at least some extra strength on my board. It's extra HP. It makes sure you can go long. And this guy's talking, want to see who wins this, LOL. I'm thinking oh, are you just offering to FF? But I don't know if you noticed this. And let's I'm actually gonna rewind really quick. Because if we look at this fight, when we lock into the next. So we look at this fight, look at the items. There's nothing on Ziggs, and we have a 3 item Echo with a Trickster's Glass. And I whomped him here. This guy makes an incredibly good play. Where if we go forward and we load into this next fight, he took one of the Reforgers on his bench and used it on that Echo. Now you can see Echo has a Protector's Vow, and we have a true damage Zhonya's Rageblade Ziggs in the back, and I did not reposition. My Jax is over here doing nothing. I'm too busy chit-chatting. So not only did he beat me in positioning, but he just rolled himself some amazing items. So Jax is still putting in the work. He's doing everything he can. 1 big Ziggs bomb goes off, and I almost beat him. But the Zhonya's wrecks me. He can't get back in time, and I take a second. So close. So, overall, that was a really fun game. That propelled me further in Diamond 2. And yeah, so Jax is very viable, Just make sure you hit him early, get your Moshers built around him, and make sure you position correctly. don't get so dang chatty towards the end, and make sure you're staying disciplined. But that is how you play Jax, and how you can get yourself a quick little top 2. So all right, I hope you all enjoyed this little breakdown of Jax. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see some more of these in-depth kind of VOD review comp breakdowns. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.